All right, well, Americans' interest in news has taken a big hit over the last several years, according to a new report. Researchers with the Reuters Institute at England's University of Oxford found that fewer than half of Americans are extremely or very interested in the news. That's an 18% drop-off from 2015.
And meanwhile, here at NewsNation, we continue to try and break the cable news mold, bring back Americans who are losing interest in the traditional hyper-partisan cable news model. So much of what you see on TV these days is such an echo chamber. Let's dive in with NewsNation media analyst Colby Hall. Colby, always good to see you. This recent Reuters study by the Reuters Institute shows an alarming trend for the United States, with less than half the country saying they're particularly interested in the news. But NewsNation we're starting to see some noteworthy jumps in our ratings. I mean, just on Sunday night, we had that UFO special. It beat out CNN's documentary series produced by LeBron James. I love the Daily Caller's article. The title said, CNN LeBron James gets butts kicked by unlikely competitor. What does that tell you about America's appetite for news content?
NewsNation dunked all over LeBron James. I mean, do you blame Americans for tuning out traditional cable news because all you get is politics? And now, politics are a big part of the story, sure. But if it's all you get nonstop, it gets tiresome. And I love so much that, you know, the NewsNation UFO special rated incredibly well, beat CNN. What I love most about it is that it's a great news story, and it proves the sort of mission of NewsNation. That is to say, the value proposition of NewsNation is that they believe, that the people that launched the network believe that the American cable news viewers were underserved by real news. And who doesn't love UFO stories? And this was whistleblowers. This is actual evidence. This was a hearing. And it shocked me that the other networks opted to go with traditional cable news coverage. At CNN, they did archival old 70s shows for a specific demographic. I just love that NewsNation saw UFOs. Let's do a special on it. And people tuned in. So congratulations to NewsNation. I think it proves the point of why NewsNation exists.
So many people didn't even take the hearing. We were surprised by it.
Yeah, I also want to ask you, Colby, you know, it's not just that interest in the news is dropping. There are a growing number of people that are just avoiding the news altogether. Why do you think that is?
You know, it's funny. I have a lot of good friends, both here in Brooklyn and where I grew up in Kansas, who all say they're just so tired of the same narrative. I mean, you tune into MSNBC, CNN, or Fox, you get very different stories, but it's the same thing over and over again. It's almost as though they're more dedicated to, you know, talking points that prove their larger point than they are in actually giving a fair and balanced approach to the news. And it's, you know, if you would turn in primetime of NewsNation, you get a wide swath of coverage in different points of view. Like we just saw with Chris Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly having a good debate that was occasionally contentious, but never disrespectful, because it's clear those two guys really like one another. And I learned something. It advanced the conversation, which is, I think, what we desperately need in the nation right now, is to advance the conversation and get past the partisan stuff.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here at NewsNation, really cutting through the noise, giving you both sides. You decide at home.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of us joined the network in the first place. So much of what we watch on other networks is so exhausting, and it's divisive. And Americans are tired of being talked at. You know, they want to be part of the conversation too, and feel like their opinions, their voices matter as well. Colby Hall, thanks.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.